Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, November 2nd. This is a meeting of the Curriculum Subcommittee of the Darien Board of Education. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, December 7th. We have a lovely full house of delightful Darien Public Schools employees in our room to share their work with us. We are going to talk about the K-3 literacy update, the tri-state consultancy visit, new course proposals, and then we'll end with public comment. So I will turn it over to Amy to start the meeting off.
Good morning, everyone. And again, thank you to our board members and all of our staff who's here this morning. As we discussed, we're keeping our K-3 literacy updates for K-3 programming and the reading waiver on our agendas while we await information from the state. But just this past week, Dr. Adley and Ms. Stroller and I met with representative from CSDE and PCG, consulting company that's reviewing the waivers. And Mrs. Stroller is just going to provide for you an overview of some highlights of what that discussion entailed.
And good morning. Oh, Michelle, the clicker is not working.
Michelle, do you see Dave online? I can't see this.
I do not see Dave online.
Point it over there, Julie.
Okay.
Point it over.
Okay. You want me to go?
Try now.
Thank you. Oops.
No.
Still not working.
Can you advance it from there? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
Keep watching that. Thank you,
Okay.
Michelle.
Sure. I was just going to provide a very brief overview. This is a presentation that we did. The state provided feedback to all districts. It was pretty much the same to every district that provided a similar waiver. There was evidence that the district's curriculum in phonemic awareness and phonics was taught in explicit systematic ways, and they wanted more information about how we were addressing fluency, vocabulary, comprehension, and the interconnectedness of our program. So these were the things that we outlined, which basically verbatim, this is what we shared. And there are some links if you wanted to see our scope and sequence, but I also added some information about our Ames Web second grade, because those students, and I chose that because those students have been with us since kindergarten and first grade when we introduced Haggerty. And out of 357 students, there were only 12 students who did not meet goal. So that really shows that our program is working. And the feedback from them was incredibly positive. One of the things I linked also was how we are teaching orthographic mapping, which is so critical, we know, to that early reading success. And I said it was developed by teachers in our district. It was based on our own resources and scope and sequence, and they were really impressed. So it was a very favorable meeting, and we're optimistic.
We won't hear from the state regarding a response to the waiver until December. So we are still in a pause pattern waiting to hear from them.
Okay. And in your conversations with other, colleagues in different districts, are you getting the sense that, just talk to a little bit to what the process is like now?
So everybody had similar meetings, similar feedback. We're pretty much all doing the same work. So our feedback was exactly the same, and our presentations that we shared were pretty much the same. And everybody's impression was that that it was helpful information. The PCG, the group that is reviewing it, they were very clear that they're not making decisions, that it is the state that's making decisions.
So PCG is not making the decisions. They're taking the information that they got from you and filtering it into the state.
Yes, but they said that the information did add additional color to our waiver.
In particular, one of the things they commented on was the integration of all of the resources that are a part of the curriculum and how they could see those resources complement one another and fit together.
So, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge Julie in particular here for her expertise, because she did a phenomenal job online. She's been humble about it this morning, but she was extremely well received. I will say, up until we made our presentation, the discussions with the superintendents in different districts was somewhat, wasn't hopeful. I honestly felt the meeting went extremely well. I felt that they were interactive with us. I felt that, actually I walked out hopeful that they would create another option for people, given what PCG said and how they were going to frame it to CSDE, and actually what the state actually said to us online. I was to the point where I wrote to my colleagues and said, for what it's worth, I'm hopeful that we might get another option out of this. And anyway, so that's, I could be wrong. They can just go and do what they have to do. But I just felt that it was very well received. The other thing that they spoke about, just so as our own district knows, where the structures in place, processes that we have in place from our literacy team, they actually even from the board receiving these regular updates about literacy and so on. So I just wanted to recognize that because they recognized it.
Yeah.
Alan, by another option, do you mean to continue with what we're doing, or do you mean that the?
Yeah, the carve out. I guess it's just me speculating from that meeting, but I'm hopeful that they actually will carve out another option for districts such as ourselves.
I
And
think
now,
what they're going to have to grapple with is they have a list of programs, and really what they saw was that our complement of resources and the structures that we have in place and the progress monitoring tools that we have created and the things that we have developed, we have a very cohesive, comprehensive program, and there's nothing in another program that we are not doing and doing really well based on the needs of our students.
and is that then for inputs from us in this process? Now we just wait until there's, as far as we know, we just wait.
No, we
until there's
definitely,
response?
what we do know is we have to wait until the December date.
And they're still notifying everybody at the same time.
That's what they said.
Okay. All right.
Julie and Alan, I'm familiar with PCG, but can you talk about their qualifications to actually do any sort of analysis of this work?
So the two people that are leading the team, one of them is, she has a literacy background. It's mostly middle school and urban districts, but she has been doing a lot of this work. She worked in Florida, she worked in Ohio. And the other gentleman is a special education background.
Yeah, I think they're also the company that did Connecticut Sets.
They seem to be working with the state a lot,
Yeah,
PCG.
yes, which I think developing a software program is a pretty different skill
Yes.
from analyzing
Yeah.
literacy.
Oh,
programs. So
totally.
that's what I was going for is
Totally.
who is, what
Yeah.
skill sets they're putting into this project.
And we tried to share our data for our district, but really without getting into classrooms and seeing the work and what it looks like and really being here, I think it's hard to really analyze that.
So there's some limitations because it's a paper waiver and an interview, but there's not any sort of.
Observation, or, yeah. Thank you, Julie. Any further questions? We good? All right, we'll move on to number 2, the tri-state consultancy visits. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, maybe we shouldn't have said. I just wondered if we would change it to get to the other courses first. Is there any sense that we need to do that to get our staff?
Oh, that,
Or maybe our staff here for some of the tri-state, I don't know.
Some,
Doesn't matter? Okay, all right, okay, thank you.
all right, so we'll just go move forward. Go ahead.
okay, so we are joined today by Colleen Thompson and Jacqueline Samus, who will share with us information about our tri-state consultancy visit and how we are preparing as a district for the visit. Visit will take place in January 31st to February 2nd.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Amy, we were wondering if you might be able to kick off our agenda.
I'm happy to.
Okay, great.
Can you advance this?
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to talk today about what Tri-State Consortium is, the goals for the visit. This is really a wonderful professional learning opportunity. I've heard so much about Tri-State consultancy visits, but this will be a first-time experience for me in Darien Public Schools joining this group. The Darien Public Schools consultancy visit, I already talked with you about what those dates are. There's a very rigorous data collection and evidence collection process. And as you can surmise with Colleen and Jacqueline here, our decision is to focus on the fine arts. So primarily the visit will focus on data collection, student and staff experiences in music, art, and theater. We'll share with you what our essential questions are. The essential questions are really what guide and frame the visit. They're questions that we have about our existing programming. We will find, I'm sure, bright spots in our programming because we're doing so much really well. There's so much to celebrate there. And the visit will also point to opportunities for our continued growth and development as a system. There are representative teachers from music, art, and theater from across the district, across all schools and levels, who will help organize the visit and participate while they're here. And then we'll expect results and feedback probably not until March. So when that happens, we'll come forward with the board to share what the feedback is, of course.
And then Julie, I think we were going to talk about the background for Tri-State.
Right.
What it is? Yep.
So Tri-State is a group of, it started out as high-performing districts, and it has expanded to many districts in the tri-state area who are coming together to be critical friends. And it includes looking at evidence that districts provide, interviewing teachers, and administrators, getting into classrooms. And they sort of give a different perspective on our essential questions. It is incredible professional learning, not only for the visit team, but also for all of us who are participating just in gathering and preparing for the visit.
Just a little map to show us all the different towns that are part of it. All right. So our
goals for the Tri-State Consortium, and this is really the goals that Tri-State kind of sets out for us, creating a vision of what's possible, developing and using an assessment model and modifying it on the basis of practice. So they present us with the assessment model that they've used in other districts and for other areas, but we are modifying it so that it helps us capture what we're looking to capture as we look at our visual and performing arts program. And then communicating and sharing methods of bringing about continuous improvement, because that's what we're about, and that's the goal of this event. And then essentially just what Tri-State is, critical friends who support each other and communicating and sharing methods of bringing about continuous improvement. And it's important to note what it is not. It is not a deficit model. So they're not coming in to see, to tell us what we're not doing well. And it's certainly not an evaluation of teachers. It's just we're really showing off what we're doing as a district and then hoping to get some feedback to continuously improve.
All right, so it's going to happen January 31st to February 2nd. Again, it's doing art, music, and theater from a K-12 lens. The process is going to be the committee is going to show up on that Wednesday. How do I click on the sample schedule? Michelle, can you click on the sample schedule, please? Thank you. So they're going to come. Well, I think our home base is going to be here in our Board of Ed offices. There'll be a presentation to the group that's coming in and telling them kind of what we hope that they're going to see, meeting lots of people from staff, our steering committee, to Board of Ed members and teachers that'll be here. And then after that, they'll break and they'll start to go out and looking at the evidence that we've collected. They're going to look at the website that we're going to show you in a minute that we're in the process of building. And then they'll get out into the schools and start analyzing the evidence that we are showing them and then seeing it happening in action. Day 2, again, is going to be them meeting as a group here and then getting out into the schools, interviewing parents, students, teachers, administrators, and seeing our programs in action. Followed by the end of that evening, we're hoping that they're going to want to go to our sweet night of jazz at the MMS cafeteria. That night is usually a night that they kind of go out to dinner and as a group get to bond. And then on day 3 is kind of the conclusion of the event. So they'll come back again, and doing this kind of fishbowl discussion with these circles that they'll talk about, and kind of the conversation gets narrower and narrower, and evaluating our evidence and seeing what they saw as part of their visit. And then a few weeks later, we'll see their written report. Our steering committees, we have members from all levels, all buildings, and all discipline areas that will be part of our gathering of evidence. And then from there,
And so when they're looking at the categories of evidence, the information gathered through the interviews and through the evidence that we submit to them, that will serve as evidence for the team when determining the levels of performance for each essential question. So they're looking at our approach, they're looking about how we implement it, and then they're looking at the results.
all right, so all of our evidence will be gathered onto our own website that we are in the process of building. Tim's been a huge help in getting that up and running for us, so thank you for that. Just to kind of give you an idea of what they're going to be looking at, Michelle, if you wouldn't mind clicking on indicators and going to up at the very top left. Nope, that's the top right. Sorry, my rights and lefts are hard. Ask my family when driving. The third button in indicators, yep. And then it's a drop down. So you're going to want to go to day 2, essential question 2, essential question 2, and then art. Sorry, this will be how we've organized all of our evidence. And if we get to 2, there's a video there, but
Doesn't look like it's alive.
sorry.
No, that's essential too, especially.
It's a template and we're still in progress here.
There we are.
And while they're getting it up, I really want to thank Colleen and Jacqueline for their leadership on this. It's a huge undertaking, and I'm just happy that even though my part is really small helping with the website, it's really, this is impressive. So it's a great opportunity for them. I think you found it, yeah?
So that's an example of, the committee won't be able to see all of our art shows, music performances, theater performances live. So we're going to create, curated snippets of what we want them to see.
Right. So we've been building those and kind of using the pre-recorded performances that are happening from last year and this year and so on.
And that website will only be an internal website for use with our tri-state consultancy guests during the period of time that they're visiting our district.
All right, and then our essential questions. Michelle, can you go back to the presentation, please? Thank you. All right. So our essential questions are 3. To what extent does the Darien Public School provide access to a cohesive, innovative arts program that prepares all students today to thrive in a changing world tomorrow? EQ is how can the Darien Public Schools enhance experiences for students who demonstrate exceptional gifts and talents in the arts? And 3 is how do arts offerings align with the competencies of the vision of the graduate?
I'm sure you can hear within those questions connection to our board goals and our strategic plan and just, a cohesion there. So just a little bit of detail on EQ1. So this is really the big one where we're looking at how do we provide access to all students to a cohesive, innovative arts program. And so examples of evidence that we're now collecting would be schedules at each level, enrollment at each level, course offerings, co-curricular programming, and our connection to the community.
All right, and then EQ, how do Darien Public Schools enhance experience for students who demonstrate exceptional gifts and talents in the arts? For examples of that would be curricular honors opportunities, audition or teacher-selected programs and events, concerts, art shows, productions, and community artists' artistic opportunities.
And for our essential question 3, we're asking how do arts offerings align with the competencies of the vision of the graduate? And so for that, we're going to be sharing some student work, teacher lesson plans, some assessment data, curriculum documents, and most of us in our departments are working on connecting our professional learning and goal setting work with Vision of the Graduate. So we'll demonstrate how we're really helping teachers integrate that work into their goal setting and planning for students.
One other connection for us to make is with EQ2. Well, it'll give us an opportunity to think about students who demonstrate exceptional gifts in the arts and how we identify students, for example, for gifted and talented programming, and how we provide program for those students in those areas beyond what we were doing already. So the results and feedback, the committee is going to create a report. We'll be with them processing the visit and everything they're learning the whole way through. But their report that they'll work on after they leave the visit will highlight our strengths, areas for growth, and opportunities for us to be even more creative with programming for students in the future. So we'll look forward to that. Again, we probably won't have that result and feedback until March, and then we'll plan to bring that forward to the board to share celebration and some of our thinking about what we might be interested in doing next. We do have a steering committee in district, and as we said, their staff, they're representative from all grade levels, disciplines, and buildings. And the steering committee is working in subcommittees because, again, we are so happy that Colleen and Jacqueline are leading this charge, but many hands make light work. This is a massive undertaking, as Tim said. So we're also very pleased for our staff members that have stepped up and are showing such enthusiasm. They're working in subcommittees. We asked them to give us their top 1 or 2 subcommittees, and everybody got their first choice. So that's always happy when that works out. They are working right now to gather the evidence. So this is ongoing. And we're inviting the Board of Ed and community members to be involved. So as indicated before, there'll be an opportunity for members of the board and also family members to meet with our consultancy visit guests and provide feedback from your perspectives about arts programming. And then again, we'll just look to prepare presentation and share with the board in the spring.
Great.
And we'll take questions.
Thank you. That seems like quite the big undertaking. So
It
thank
is.
you for your extra time on top of your daily duties. Quick, just about the tri-state. Is this a required participation? Do we opt to do this? Is it annual? Can you talk a little bit about what that group does and how often we participate?
As a member of the tri-state, it's a relative commitment that the districts make that periodically each district would go through this particular process. So it's a learning process that you're relatively committing to upfront, so to speak. It's not the same as the NASC, but sort of the same thing. But this is more voluntary, but it is a sort of commitment that districts make as part of the process that when your term comes up, you will both facilitate a meeting and also you will visit other schools and help them.
So how often do we do a tri-state visit?
Well, the last time we did it, I think was 17, 18 or thereabouts.
Okay.
Just because the results were just before.
So it's not annual?
Right. No, no, it's too, no, it's definitely too. No.
Okay.
You have some flexibility, like because changes happen in districts and so on and so forth. Things get deferred. Somebody steps up.
And how was fine arts chosen as the area of focus?
I think it was done collaboratively with Dr. Tramberg and other members of Central Services. I think coming out of COVID, it was an opportunity to kind of look at how the programs are rebounding. And I think they just kind of looked backward and saw that there hadn't been, maybe a spotlight or a highlight of the arts in the past. So that was the decision.
Okay.
There was also an opportunity, I may say, Colleen had relatively accepted a new position. It was a good opportunity to take a fresh look and get a fresh set of eyes on the department offerings.
So does that mean that in 17, 18 or thereabouts, the consortium came to Darien or Darien participated? Okay. And do we know what the focus was then? Was it top, like subject matter wise department?
It was on the supports that we offer for students.
Okay.
The lab model, the team teaching model that we had started around that period of time.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm just trying to get an understanding of kind of the breadth of the scope of how this works. It sounds incredible, and I volunteer here and now for an interview, whether as a community member or board member, parent, whatever.
and then two teachers last year, myself and an elementary art teacher, went to New Canaan on a visit
Okay.
to kind of see how the whole process happens and kind of how the sausage is made that way.
Okay.
And it was very interesting.
It sounds incredible. Either now or at some point, I'd love to understand what kind of things have come out of these experiences in the past, either for us or for another district, just to kind of get our heads around what kind of things we're hoping to hear about in March. But it sounds fabulous. It sounds like a tremendous amount of work. So thank you to all of you for all of that work. And I mean, a sweet night of jazz sounds pretty terrific. So I don't know why they wouldn't go to the MMS cafeteria.
Yeah, that was a happy accident that
I
was scheduled
looked
during
at the
that
schedule
time.
when I
Yeah,
was
it was
reading
great.
through the packet. And I was like, oh, there is something. So that's good.
Thank you. Sorry. Hi, Shirley.
If I may just add one other aspect to it also, it is truly an inclusive opportunity, especially the domains we're looking at, that allows us to showcase all students and all learning in the arts. I know it was something that Dr. Tramberg did speak about that we wanted to look at closely, but it truly is that opportunity. So we're looking forward to our
Great.
participation.
Thank you. Michelle, is Mr. Brown on? I just don't want to make sure I'm not overlooking him if he's on.
He is not.
He is not
Mr.
on.
Sini is.
Okay. All right. Oh, hi.
Can you guys talk how you got to the essential questions and sort of what they mean to you? I understand what they are, but why are these the three questions you chose? And I think expanding a little bit also in particular on number one, what does access mean in this case? What's cohesive? What's innovative? I see some of the answers, but I'd love to hear some of the thinking. Thank you.
I think Dr. Tramberg was really thinking about our programs as a whole, and he kind of guided us to these EQs, and we came back to visit them since he's left, and as a group decided that this is still the appropriate questions that we want asked looking at our programs.
So I think access refers to access for all students across the whole range of abilities and interests. And I think we'll look at both kind of the prescribed programming, so how music, art, and theater experiences are scheduled at the elementary, middle, and high school level. And we'll also look at, at what point co-curricular or extra opportunities are provided to students. And we'll look to receive feedback as to whether they're provided equitably. So it really is a look at, it's a big lens on equity.
And in terms of the scheduling, so whatever comes out of March and you think, there's a suggestion to do X, Y, and Z, is there a possibility that X, Y, and Z could be instituted for 24-25? I mean, I guess it depends what it is. So the results could be.
Sure. I mean, I think
Immediate-ish,
it could influence, planning at all levels. And so, it could influence, course adjustments, and it would just be a part of the discussion in the future as we, as we evaluate our program and look to expand.
Okay, thank you.
Typically, the tri-state visiting team will come back a year later and say, like, what sense did you make of it? There's no pressure from their perspective, but they sort of facilitate that type of discussion.
All right, moving on. Thank you, Colleen and Jacqueline. New course proposals. Who's gonna
Good
take that one?
morning.
Good morning, Mrs. Hunt.
I'm thrilled to be surrounded by my wonderful colleagues and disciplines. So as you know from previous years, the process for bringing forward new courses begins considerably long ago, so back in March. And we're very proud of the process that we follow at Darien High School, where our teachers and our department leaders are involved in first doing some analysis of current courses and then thinking about what they want to bring to our students in the future. That process then comes to a curriculum committee that looks at it from a global school standpoint, and those recommendations come to the departmental council, many of the members who are here, the department leaders, and then we talk a lot about that and how one course influences another, and then we move forward to Dr. Adley and our assistant superintendents to talk about the courses from their perspective. And now we're here this morning to present this final list to you. So there's a combination of things that happen in that process. We have new courses that come forward. We reconsider courses that students have not been selecting. We look at why that is and if we could be offering things that are of more interest to them and still accomplishing the same goals. So you'll see in the memo, the cover memo, that there are some small changes that I'll just address quickly with you first. And then if we can just take, I think, each course and why we're presenting that new course to you. The 5 new courses are interesting in that they are, some of them, very interdisciplinary in their nature. They're combining some of our professional staff to teach together, which I think is an exciting opportunity. So digital drawing and design brings art and technology together for our students in another course. You know that our STEM requirements from the state and for the new requirements for our students, some of our artists and musicians have trouble continuing along their pathway that they're passionate about and still meeting those STEM requirements. So this answers some of that for those students. We have imaginative and experimental literature as a new senior option. Theatrical storytelling, which will combine theater and English, and AP Psychology, which is something that we've talked about for many years. AP Psychology is again an AP course, and I know we're careful sometimes about adding more AP classes for our students. However, it's a very accessible AP class, and I think it will benefit our students, especially who are interested in following a career in psychology. And then anatomy and physiology, another course that's very common, very career oriented, and I think something that the science department's been talking about for some time as well. So changes some of these changes are facilitated by these proposals. Drawing, painting 1 and graphic design 2, should the digital drawing class be approved, the department is requesting that those courses be removed and the digital drawing replace those courses. And Jacqueline will talk a little bit about that. British literature, although for some of us this is a hard one, I'm sure Francis will say. We haven't had much enrollment in British literature over 4 or 5 years now. So the department has come together to think through why that might be, and certainly some of our students who may be pursuing English majors later in life are often pursuing an AP literature or AP language and are getting that British literature exposure there. And so the new course, I think, is something that our students will be drawn to, and there are wonderful options, as you know, in the senior electives, and I think this will be a new addition there. So the British literature would come off of the catalog. In technology education, web design and app development, technology is changing. We could all probably right now, with almost no experience, and Tim might weigh in on this, but we probably could design a website pretty easily, pull up Google Sites and make one. So the coding necessary to do that is really something that is not necessary anymore for most users. And the app development course and web design course seem to be competing with one another. And so we're getting lower registrations in those courses, and then one or the other or both are not running. And so the tech ed department would like to combine those 2 courses, because in reality and in careers, one is designing a web page, but an app to go with that web page. The mobile device has a different use than the computer. So I think it's a good idea, and it makes sense in terms of them redesigning that course, bringing those 2 areas of content together. This is simply a name change for Drawing and Painting 2 and Drawing and Painting 3 honors. If there's no Drawing and Painting 1, that doesn't make any sense in the catalog. So those would be changed. Should you approve ultimately the digital drawing, we'll have intermediate drawing and then advanced honors. And then world languages, we have a proposal to add our ECE credit from UConn. The early college experience is something that UConn allows us to do if we have the certified teachers from the program as well as approval of the curriculum. And that work has been done in the department already. The teachers have become certified in preparation for your approval, and the program would allow for 6 course credits, right? College credits, right? And the equivalent of 2 semesters at UConn, and at a very minimal fee. So students in this course would be able to get those credits for about $300 plus a registration fee. This course, remember, was added last year. We have students in Spanish landing in Spanish 3 at the high school, and many students. And so we needed a 6th year in a way of Spanish. And so the Hispanic culture through the arts was added as another option for students to choose either in their junior or senior year. So we believe that this may be a culminating course for many students in the 300 level track, which would allow them to get college credit. It would also be another year sequence for someone who may have taken AP Spanish in their junior year and may want to continue on and get college credit. And then we began, as you know, American Sign Language last year. We have 2 sections running. We will offer ASL2 for students who may want to continue with your approval, and we will look at the registration to see what that entails. We don't expect an FTE change really for any of the things that we're proposing at the high school. I don't know if you want to add anything to the Spanish?
I think Ellen covered most of it, but just to clarify, the ECE is an option. Oh, is my mic, hello? Oh, the ECE addition is an option for students that are in the class. So it's really a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you do it? Because they are going to be doing the same work. The curriculum, we sort of did 2 things at once. We revised our curriculum and then sent it to UConn and got our teachers approved to teach. So we did all this last year in preparation for the class actually happening this year. We have 3 very healthy sections of it running right now. And so for the students that move on next year, they can opt in to do to earn the ECE credits from UConn, and they don't have to, but they can. So it is a 300 level class with the additional option of doing that.
Okay. I have a couple questions about the credit. The credit is only at UConn. It's not like an AP that could be used anywhere. Correct.
Yep, it's a UConn. It's 6 credits from UConn. You get a transcript from UConn. You can then take that UConn transcript to another school, and you can say, rather than I earned these credits through my AP class, and well, I earned these credits because I got a qualifying score on my AP exam. I earned these credits because I was taught by an adjunct UConn professor at my high school, and here's my transcript.
Okay.
And that transcript would go along with
Yes.
our transcript and application process.
Gotcha. Okay. And the fee is paid by the family, not the district.
Yes.
And there's no final assessment or something that's different to get the ECE?
Not in
Right.
Spanish.
Okay.
There are in other disciplines.
Okay.
And that's something that, it's pretty clear on the website, but we all went to a training at UConn, and that's something that they are very clear about. And when they meet with us, they say it varies by discipline.
Okay.
So in some disciplines, you have to take the midterm, you have to take the final, you have to teach the curriculum as it is explicitly taught at UConn. Whereas in other disciplines, there's more of a relationship with the school, and that's our case. So I've been working with the professors that are the advisors of the Spanish ECE program, and we explained to them the process that we have gone through to get this approved, where it fits in the sequence, the type of student that's in the class, the type of student that we want to attract to the class. This is the curriculum that has been approved by the district, by our high school, et cetera, et cetera. And they said, yeah, this sounds great. As long as you meet these requirements within the assignments, you're all set.
Do we have any other courses that participate in the ECE program at UConn?
We do. Contemporary Issues is a course that we have ECE arrangements with. The course hasn't run
Okay.
in several years. We did have physics at one time, and the curriculum at UConn changed fairly dramatically compared to ours, and so we don't have it right now. But it is something that we, as a departmental group, are always looking at, because I think it's wonderful. We do also have, for the ASR program, the University of Albany gives credit to those students for the science research program. So, and there are more partnerships to look at, I think, with community college and so forth. So I think it's something that is on our mind for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, ready to go on with the other courses then? Sure. We'll start with digital drawing and design. And Jacqueline, you want to give a little bit more flavor than I did to the course.
You covered it very well. So two of us went out to Utah last year to grade AP exams, and we were looking at the amount of digital drawing that students were doing as part of their exams. And our drawing and painting students were not doing that in the classroom. So it's, we came back and kind of started looking at us from a programmatic place of where would this fit in, and we didn't want to add any more prereqs to get to our AP class for drawing and painting. So we kind of decided as a group collectively that the second slot in a track would be a great place to put this. So replacing that drawing and painting 1, and then similarly graphic design 2 has only a handful of students that are in it. They usually push into a graphic design 1 class, and this would give them an opportunity to learn another platform with the Wacom tablet and drawing and design. So that's kind of where those 2 courses are and how they're coming together. So it's filling a prereq for getting to that AP level in 2 different tracks with 1 single course. We found that a lot of students are learning, since they all had iPads for so long, that they were really doing a lot of digital drawing on their own through Procreate. And we have the Adobe licenses already for the Photoshop and Illustrator. And then they would have access to the Fresco app would they have their Adobe login. So we already have some of a lot of the technology piece of it's already there from programs. And then we've expanded our computer lab capabilities right now, or filled out all we can fit, and we have pushed into tech ed. And so we're looking to change one of our existing classrooms into another digital studio for students to have access to a more powerful computer that can do this digital drawing piece, and then bringing back all of our graphic design classes back into the art wing for those for the teachers to be teaching in our area space. So those are kind of the 2 from a curriculum piece. I'm very excited. I think students will be really pumped to have access to this digital drawing. I think there's a lot less pressure to make things look perfect that first time you try it, because it's so easy to erase when just undo that last layer. So it's more of just, it's giving them another skill that then once they have this skill, as they go into drawing and painting 2 or intermediate or advanced in AP, they will be able to come back to the Wacom tablets and come back to digital drawing and include those pieces in their portfolio if they want to.
So no, go ahead, Ellen.
I should add to that there are budgetary implications on some of these, and we so far have included those in our process to Dr. Adley. And so when these are approved, you may want to discuss that as part, but they are in the current draft of the budget, so you know that.
That was going to be my question. So the clearly this is a larger board conversation once we go through budget season, but these Wacom tablets, we don't have any of them currently?
We have 1.
We have 1. Okay.
Yes. So
and you need that to do this course?
Yes, for the digital drawing piece. We as a department, we went back and forth a lot of, do we want to go down an iPad track or a Wacom tablet track? You need some sort of device to actually to be able to do that drawing on. And we went with the Wacom tablet because of just the more powerful program of Adobe that we already own. And that is what most colleges are using when they're doing digital drawing. So a program like Procreate that would be buying another subscription for to have access to do it on the iPads would be limited to just the iPads, where the Adobe can do both a tablet and then the computer application, and it's what colleges would be using.
So,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, go Julie.
I was just gonna ask if this equipment is would be used just for this course, or if it has use beyond in the department.
So it has use for just this course specifically, but then any students, once they know how to use this, would have the ability to come back into the studio to use those. So for those advanced drawing and painting classes, or either the digital photography path, which has graphic design as part of the prereq, it would be used by a lot more than just one course.
So-
Students, once they've learned it, they can always come back and use
A
it.
studio that's available
Yes.
to art students.
As our open studio model is like, we'd like to employ in all of our courses. If there's space for you to sit in the classroom, you're welcome to come work whenever you have a free period.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So my suggestion when this comes back to the full board is really help us understand why
Dimensionalize that.
why the technology is a really important piece of
Okay.
this, because it's a pretty significant lift. So.
Yes, okay.
All right, next, Francis Janosco on Through the Looking Glass.
Yeah. The full title is Through the Looking Glass, colon. And by the way, I'll just say that this is how we instruct our students to title their essays with these two parts.
So sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Sorry. So this reflects the way we instruct our students to title their essays with these two-part titles. We're trying to, walk the walk, I suppose, with our titles of these courses. As you know, for our seniors, we offer one semester, often thematic and sometimes genre studies courses, and we're trying to provide them with choice. We're also trying to be responsive to the changing needs of our seniors. Currently, we are running 6 of those courses. I know that you're familiar with most of them. We have a literature of food and travel course. We have women in fiction, literature and philosophy, sports and literature, the literature of suspense, and the literature of New York City. Those are our current 6 courses that are running this year. You heard already from Ellen that we have really struggled to attract students to take our British literature course. We have not run that for the past 5 years. We haven't had close to the number of kids that we would need to run that course. And I'll just, as an aside, you are familiar that we're going to be taking a field trip to England. That's almost, this course in a sense, we're going over there with a group of kids. So we really thought long and hard about whether or not we want to currently or continue to offer this course, but we just can't seem to recruit enough kids to do it. And we have embedded English literature in almost all of our courses, save 11th grade. So I feel comfortable moving forward with that. The new course, just a little bit more about it. We have teachers in the department who put forward proposals for a new senior course. We had 4 really great options. Those were also shared with students in the form of a survey. The overwhelming winner, shall I say, from the survey is the course that's being proposed today, the imaginative and experimental lit course. Our teachers also come together and look at that data, and they do some thinking about it, and we look at what we currently offer the kids and see, which of the courses is going to be the best fit. And our feeling was that by putting this forward, it was not going to take students away from the current courses. If any, I think that probably our our lit and philosophy course and our literature of suspense course are probably the 2 where we might pull some kids away from those 2, but those are very healthy courses that have not had any problems with enrollment since they've been in place. So this new course is designed to really give students a chance to read texts that are that create imaginative worlds. So as an example, maybe an old-fashioned example that we would all know, say The Hobbit is something that was read for many years in grade 9. It's still on our list of books for grade 9. It's something that our teachers really don't teach much anymore. But if you just think about that world or Lord of the Rings, it's a completely imaginative, created world that our students can step into. It's a bit escapist if you think about it. And so imaginative lit really encompasses that
fantasy, sci-fi, speculative lit are all going to be sort of in the umbrella of this course and give kids who really want to explore these different worlds a chance to do so. The best examples of this often, even though they're kind of escapist and they're very different worlds, they often have something to say about our present world, and that's always very interesting to make those kind of comparisons. So that's just a little bit about our thinking in proposing this course. It really doesn't affect any other department because, you know, it's just the non-AP kids who will take these courses. I will just say that this is the first year since we've offered the choices to kids that we have run 6 of our courses. So we're very proud of that we're giving students a wide range of options to choose from. Choice is very important to us and the department to give to our kids, and we keep looking for other opportunities. We, as you may remember from last year, we have some designs on some other choices that we'd like to pull into our junior year. We're very happy with this one, and the department feels very strongly this will be a great addition to what we already offer our kids.
Thank you. I think this course sounds awesome, and I think a lot of children these days are really into this kind of literature, and I think it sounds fascinating. A question not about this course, but in your write-up, when you listed the current one semester offerings, the East Asian literature one that is not running.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why you're not removing that one as well as the British literature one?
Well, we're holding out hope that we can run that again. We ran it right before COVID hit, right? And as you know, our China exchange program took a hit at that point in time too, and a lot of the kids who were taking the course were also involved in that program. So we would love to offer more representation, and I think we're thinking about ways of making it not necessarily about East Asian literature, but maybe also the Asian American experience too. So we're looking into maybe broadening the scope of it.
Okay.
So we're, I mean, at this point in time, we just felt like that was something we'd like to hang on to a little bit longer.
Okay. Questions?
I was going to ask similarly, do you ever repackage these, remarket them, so to speak? So kind of what you were suggesting. I think it sounds like a terrific course. Does that mean that you would hopefully, say fall semester next year, be running 7 one-semester classes in an ideal world?
In an ideal world, that would be the hope. Our great hope is that it doesn't draw too many kids away, so we can run all of our courses, or maybe even 8. Maybe we'll get enough kids to sign up for East Asian Lit.
Okay, and we still don't think there's an FTE adjustment to be made there. Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that we try to allow them to vote with their feet. And so when we do the registration process, we sit down, talk about how many have registered here, how many have registered here, where do we need to leave a little wiggle room for changing schedules. It's kind of a dance, in terms of building the schedule. But I think the department is always looking to see what do they choose. And then we won't run it just because we want to teach it. We run it because they want to learn, right? So. The next course, theatrical storytelling, design, and technology, a very interesting combination of the work of theater and drama with taking a look at the actual piece that one is going to present as a play, as a piece of theater on the writing side, as well as the theatrical side of production. So I will let Frances and Colleen explain the thinking there.
Sure. So this course came about as we were collaborating last year and talking about courses for each of our departments, found out that Dr. Regent had proposed a course and Mr. Andrade had proposed a course that were very similar. And so in our discussion with them, we decided to create this course, and really they did the heavy lifting on it. But the proposal is for a 1-semester co-taught course called Theatrical Storytelling, Design, and Technology. In this course, the students would examine the interdisciplinary nature of theatrical storytelling through script interpretation and analysis, exploration and collaboration, and then students would apply technologies such as lighting, sound, and projection, and will design, model, and fabricate sets and costumes to bring the story to life. So it's essentially a technical theater class, but it really embodies the storytelling of theater. So it talks about directing the piece, but also producing the piece from a technical standpoint. So this course would be co-taught by a theater teacher and a music technology teacher. And this pairing will mimic the collaboration that occurs between the stage director and technical director to stage a production. For example, the students will work with the theater teacher to develop the style, tone, and interpretation for the piece. Then they'll learn how to communicate with the technology teacher to bring the vision to life through set design, construction, lighting design, sound design, costume design, and prop design, ensuring that the creative vision is maintained throughout the process. So if you imagine, a student's coming up with a scene, and in a typical classroom, it's all just hypothetical. This is how I would do it. And now in this course, it's like, yes, this is how I will do it. And now you can do it. And this is how you integrate the technologies in order to bring it to life. This course addresses the gap in current theater offerings. Since Drama 1 and Drama 2 focus primarily on acting, Darien has fewer theater course offerings than most high schools in Durg A and across the state. Nearby districts that run similar technical theater courses include Wilton, Ridgefield, Region 9, Westport, Greenwich, Newtown, and Trumbull. The course is unique in that it meaningfully integrates technology, the arts, and humanities, and supports students seeking graduation credit in any of these areas. We believe this course will be particularly attractive for students who are seeking to earn their STEM elective credit within the Performing Arts Department, as the only class that currently fulfills this requirement is the music tech course. This course will give students the opportunity to utilize our state-of-the-art theater facilities and equipment, leveraging the investment being made in the DHS auditorium, as it is currently being updated with the latest technology, including speakers, mixers, microphones, and cameras with streaming possibilities. And we are currently working with the Darien Foundation on a proposal to fund an LED video wall for the auditorium. Should that come through, we are particularly eager to utilize it with this course, as students would be able to work with virtual sets. And then just talking about, Jacqueline and I have been in conversations about how to integrate digital drawing and design as well. So, art students collaborating, if we run at the same semester, to help those design students bring the piece to life using the LED video wall. So we hope you've had the opportunity to read through. I know you have a lot of reading to do, but the full course proposal is quite detailed. We think one of the most compelling strengths of the course is its connection to the tenets of the vision of the graduate. In particular, this course and theater courses in general can help students make progress with attributes that can be more challenging to access in other academic areas. So think curiosity, empathy, integrity. So that's the pitch, and we're excited about this potential.
Thank you. I have a pragmatic question.
Yeah.
So the two teachers working together,
Yeah.
would they be teaching every period together? How does schedule someone do half of it? How would the scheduling work?
Scheduling wise, if there are two sections, it will be easier because one could be teaching one group, one could be teaching the other, and we could schedule it so they're alternating and they're sharing responsibility. If there's one section, we would have to assign other things that make up the other half of that FTE. So a 0.1 for this class and a 0.1 for something else would make a full-time for that person. So they would be sharing the students. It depends on how many sections, how we would do the sharing.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, to start out, we are looking to just run it as one semester. Kind of similar to what Francis was talking about with English electives and music electives. We have several semester courses that run depending on enrollment. And so in this case, we are really just looking to put this one out there, see which students are attracted to it. And, it really is designed to be a co-taught experience because of we're working as director and technical director, and really to model that collaboration live within the classroom could be really powerful and interesting.
I love the interdisciplinary aspect of it, and even bringing in that digital drawing, that could be really cool.
Great pitch. What's that? Shocker. No, it sounds terrific. I think, so it sounds like it'll culminate in a production or a performance of some sort for the class, I'm guessing, not on a bigger scale.
I mean,
at this point.
Yeah, it would definitely, I think the students would be working in kind of smaller project groups. So there may, depending, 2, 3, 4, 5 different small groups who are putting together, choosing a script and putting together their own show.
Okay.
But we do see this culminating in a showcase either during the school day. The block gives us the opportunity to invite other classes in that meet during the same time. I've experienced this in prior school districts where, the students are producing monologues or something during the school day. But it also could expand to, an after school or evening showcase if that was something that the teachers and the students were interested in.
Okay. And then just when we talk about this for the full board, I think it's helpful to understand, it's my understanding that this probably wouldn't be as accessible to as many students as might be interested if we weren't making the improvements to the auditorium, because our old equipment was quite complicated and clumsy, for lack of a better word. So I think it's helpful to appreciate that fully.
And just to add on to that, also some of the equipment that's being removed from the auditorium is then going to be moved to the little theater.
Mhm.
So we kind of have a few little workshop labs that students can work in. So, the auditorium can become a teaching and learning space, but we also will then be able to use some of the older equipment in the little theater to explore other areas. So yes, that's true.
I think it would be helpful to add some of that to the narrative so we can
Sure.
see how the course functions. 'Cause
Okay.
It's a little different, please. Can I make a broader comment to all of you guys? There's a category rationale and enrollment, and everybody's answering it a little bit differently, which is fine. The enrollment piece is specifically what I'm going for. I think it would be helpful to, where you have history, maybe show us some historical enrollment. I think we did look at it the last time we adjusted. Where you're estimating, you're saying 15 to 20.
Mhm.
Can you tell us what that's based on? Why do you think that's the number? And just help us understand, for the ASL, what does it look like today? What are you estimating for tomorrow? Just so we can see some actual or estimated numbers and the foundation of them. Thank you.
Got it.
And if I could just add on to that too, Jacqueline, I've made a note to ask you just to give us some explanation on why 22 is the magic number for the wait, no, let me discuss further.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we're ready to move on to anatomy and physiology. Question.
So the course title is Anatomy and Physiology, Heart and Soul. And we are also trying to provide that same experience for our students at the English department. And we will have all the lab write-ups titled in this fashion. Though that's not part of the proposal, but I will make sure that that occurs. So just a little bit of background on this. We started last spring as a department and really looking at our elective offerings throughout the 11th and 12th grade year. And our department identified a need for some additional life science electives at the 300 level particularly. But if we looked at our elective offerings, most of them are physical science based, and some of them are half-year life science based. So when we looked at those, we saw that we had 6 honors and AP elective courses. And out of those, 5 are physical science, and 1 AP environmental science could be considered some physical science. Our half-year electives of botany and forensic science were life science electives, but those were only half-year electives. And we have 1 300 level elective, 300 physics available for our students. So it quickly became clear that we were missing some opportunities to give students a full year science experience with a life science elective. And we had a variety of options that we went through as a department. And this was the one where we had the most interest in terms of our department. but also in terms of our students as well. So this is a 300 level proposal, so it would be available for our 11th and 12th graders. It does have a prerequisite of biology and chemistry, and as you'll see, those prerequisites are very attainable for the vast majority of our students who go through our 9th and 10th grade program sequence. In addition, anyone who takes earth science and takes chemistry as an 11th grader would also have this available in their 12th grade year. The teachers propose this as a co-taught class, similar to the last proposal, where they, in a perfect world, we'd have at least 2 sections where the teachers would sort of flip-flop in those sections, and it would be an opportunity for both a life science and a chemistry teacher to highlight the connections between both the biological body systems and the molecular chemical properties and processes that are in the background of those body systems. As we continue to look at student interest and make sure that we are putting that in the forefront, we saw a deep need for this particular course based on the fact that we have a very vibrant anatomy and physiology club with over 30 students that are meeting on a weekly basis and really sort of self-supporting that interest on their own. In addition, we also have a medical interest club in the department. And as we're all well aware, we have a post-53 opportunity for our students that each year we have 15 or 20 kids at each grade level that are part of that. And we really felt that interest already shown in our school and in our community would be a really good foundation for this particular course and allow a wide range of students the option to fulfill that interest at a level that was accessible to many, and also a full year option for our students. We did survey our 9th and 10th grade students, and out of about 350 students who filled out the survey, we saw about 25% unequivocally stated that they would sign up for the course. So based on that, that survey and that option or that number, we felt that 2 sections was a pretty safe bet for our first go at this next year, which would allow for that co-taught option. And so, as I think Ellen mentioned, the dance around scheduling, we spent some time together, the proposers and myself, looking at schedules just to make sure that we can maneuver scheduling and rooms and make sure that was an opportunity that we could really offer students. And based on 2+ sections, we feel that we would be able to offer that opportunity to have 2 different teachers working in hand and providing both that chemical background and the biological background for the students moving forward. As I mentioned, this provides an opportunity for a wide range of students to be focused on a medical background or that have interest in a medical background. Many times throughout the course registration process, I have a conversation with a student who maybe doesn't meet the prereqs for AP Bio, but their main reason for taking AP Bio is that they're a postie. And so this would give an opportunity for a full year class that is focused on their interest and giving them an option to take one at a maybe more accessible level to begin with. Certainly, we believe that this could be a stepping stone for a student like that to then take AP Bio as a senior year elective in the department. So I think out of all of our options, we felt this was addressing student need best, and we have a very dedicated group of teachers who have already done quite a bit of work to put the proposal together, and very excited about the opportunity to co-teach and work together.
I think this class makes a lot of sense, and again, I love the mix of co-teaching and having students be able to interact with more of our excellent teachers. What would this be taking away from, and is there any staffing implications for that?
So as you've heard in other departments, we don't believe that there'll be any staffing implications, and that we have the FXTE in our department to take on this course. We did have some fairly vibrant conversation about where the students might come from within our department. We felt that some of those 11th and 12th grade elective courses may be impacted, but we're already running 4 or 5 sections of all of our half-year courses as is right now, or most of our half-year courses. We have 12 or 13 sections of physics at the 300 and 400 level. We have 5 AP bio sections. We have 3 AP chem sections. So we have a very well-populated set of electives in our 11th to 12th grade years, and we don't feel there'll be a negative impact in terms of losing those sections. It'll just be sort of a reshuffling of some of the students who now are going into AP Bio or who are going into APES or going into 300 Physics, and we'll see. Because of the fact that we have 2 years, 11th, 12th grade, I think we'll still see students have the opportunity to take a variety of elective courses.
I'm just thinking of the posties that's a pretty significant population at the high school. Is there any overlap that, they would, during the anatomy portion, one would think to become an EMT, you need some anatomy. Would they be repeating any information that they've already learned through their post-education?
So I have to be quite honest, we haven't taken a deep dive into what their post-53 education entails and what they work on outside of the school. I do know inside of DHS, this content in this course is not heavily relied upon. A lot of the body systems work was part of our Bio 300 course and Bio 400 course prior to the next generation science standards. And those standards really have taken the focus away from body systems and put it on more cellular and macro level systems, ecological systems. So we don't have, we used to have 9 units on body systems in our Bio 300, and we don't touch upon those in as deep of a level any longer. So that this really sort of brings back those body systems as a focus within the core science classes or elective science classes. So I think that there'll be a value added for those particular population of students and being able to have this as an accessible class.
I would add too that what an exciting group of students to have in the class as a teacher, right? Who could be giving us the practical side of applying this in life. So.
Said the science teacher. I think it sounds great. It sounds like a great fit, something that's needed, exciting. Just to comment in general, I think all of these offerings are nice examples, a lot of interdisciplinary stuff, which I think is very exciting and very forward focused. And with that, the co-teaching idea, so glad I'm not in charge of scheduling, but it just sounds like an incredible way to tap into our experts and help meet the interests and the needs of the kids. And sort of to Jill's point on the enrollment piece, I do think a lot of that's tied to the choice and voice thing for our students, which might be a nice way to look at that as we talk about this moving forward, to bring it back to those who benefit most in the end. This is giving them, what they're hopefully most interested in and following those interests and needs. So just a few thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah. No. But will you add that piece you just said about moving some of the biology content that we used to have in other courses and no longer do into the rationale? I think it's an important component of the fact that there's no longer instruction in that area. Thank you.
I want to be clear that it's not no longer. There is relationships between body systems as part of our Bio 300 and 400 section. It just, with the advent of the next generation science standards, it just does not play as big of a role in the understanding of very high leverage, high, sort of umbrella topics within a high school biology sequence.
And that's ninth grade too, the biology 300 and 400.
Yeah, that's the ninth grade.
So now we're talking.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And Mr. Keeler with AP Psychology.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm here to propose AP Psychology. This is a class that will be a equivalent to an introduction to psychology course that would be taken at just about any college in the country. It is intended to give students a background in all of the subfields of psychology, but doing so at a college level through inquiry and investigation. This is a class that I've been asked about since I started in this position by students, parents, other professionals in our in the building and in the district. It's something that we also have some students who take every year, the AP exam, even though we don't offer the class. We currently have an elective level psychology class that's quite healthy. It's one of the more popular ones that we have in the department. We've consistently run 3 sections of that over the last few years, but that's been as high as 4. And I want to say at one point we may even have had 5. So we have always had a lot of interest in the field of psychology. It's something that appeals to many students. Many students, when they go off to college, are also pursuing that as their major. Some students have taken our elective level psychology, the science class in neuro, coupled with our work, coupled with some self-study, has led students to be prepared to take the AP Psych exam. We have a few students every year who do that. So we are wanting to put this forward as a way of giving students an opportunity to study psychology at a higher level. But as Mrs. Dunn said in her introduction, this is also a very accessible AP. So this is on the level of our AP Human Geography, which also the reputation nationally is that this is a good class for students to take if they're trying APs for the first time, if they're not sure they want to go into the highest level APs. It's still a college level course. It's still going to be challenging, obviously, but it's a good opportunity for students to develop the habits, the confidence, and the skills that they need to be successful, whether that be as they move on into college or whether that be taking this as a junior and then opening the door perhaps to taking some other courses as well. So we are, I think part of our motivation for offering this is to give students the opportunity to take something that is higher level, but also something that's going to be manageable for them.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm actually excited to see this. I think this is a course that we should have offered a while ago. I think there's a lot of interest, especially now with our focus on mental health. I think there's definitely an interest from our students to learn more about how the brain works. And I also think that for students that may be interested in education, this is a great course. Like if you're an education major or minor, you're required to have a psych. So this is a nice intro, and I'm excited to see it. Staffing, we have people that can teach us.
Yes. And one of the things I did add into the one of the last entries on the proposal there is to have teachers. I put in for 2 teachers at the moment to go to an AP workshop, which would give them an opportunity to really get a handle on what are the AP requirements and kind of getting that set up. But yes, there's definitely interest in the department. I think the problem I will likely have is that there's too much interest in trying to figure out who really will teach the class. We've kind of set the level that we're expecting to be between 1 and 2 sections of this. Again, that's based on how many students are currently taking this, the fact that it is high interest, and the fact that we do have a healthy elective level psychology class. And we're looking really also at our model in economics, where we have an elective level economics class as well as our AP micro and macro classes. For some students, the elective level course serves as a feeder to get some background and prepare and be ready to take the higher level course. But that's not true for all of the students, and it's not a prerequisite either. So I think giving students a lot of options is going to be really helpful.
Could a student take the regular psychology class and then take this after?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. They're welcome to, they wouldn't have to, but yes.
Do we know, as far as as you said, the reputation of AP microeconomics, for example, is the relationship similar for an elective psychology versus AP psychology an elective microeconomics to
I think
AP
that-
micro?
I think that our if I'm understanding correctly, our AP economics courses, both micro and macro, are more rigorous than the AP psychology. I think they're more, I guess I would say they're more technical. There's not just understanding the principles in economics, but then being able to apply them. It's a little bit more challenging, I think, than we might see in what would be the psychology class.
I'm just wondering if this might cannibalize the psychology elective more than you might see in the economics example.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
a
don't
fair
know that
question.
that's
Yeah.
a bad thing long-term if we put the psychology elective out of business, so to
Right.
speak. I don't know the
Yeah.
answer to that, but it might be something to think about more.
My hope is that we don't put it out of business. I do, it's not our intention to close that and only open this. We really would like to see it there. The psychology class has always been really well enrolled. And it's enrolled with a wide diversity of students. Again, because it is such high interest, we have a real range of students who take the class. So we don't want to close that off. It's a great opportunity for students. And I think if as I'm thinking about where are these going to come from, I do think it will pull a few students from human geography. I think they're somewhat similar. I think it will also attract some students who weren't taking elective level psychology or AP human geography because they wanted the AP distinction, but now they have this new opportunity that they'll take. So it's going to pull from some of our sections, but it will be a net zero effect. We're not looking to add more sections to the department at this point, but I think we should be able to manage the internal accounting of which courses may have one less section to open up for this.
Right. I think it sounds exciting, and I love the idea of another kind of more accessible AP. I think is terrific. So thank you.
Agreed.
All right, that's all of it.
All right.
Thank you.
Amy or Alan, anything else to add on that?
No, I don't want to thank everybody for thoughtfulness and creativity and their alignment to values and vision of the graduate and so on, and the opportunities for our students. This is next scheduled tentatively for the next board meeting on the 14th.
Great. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I know sitting at 35 Leroy is not your top priority, but we very much appreciate you being here. I will move on to public comment.
Good morning. If anyone online would like to participate, please use the raised hand icon. There are no raised hands.
All right.